Your right backs, your multiple feet. I need a iPod to be able to put my phone closer. It's actually resting on the bin at the moment. I don't think it's going to. Oh, just get a clearer view. Just a little bit better. Not the best. So what I'm doing, let's follow on from the previous video where I'm just getting some layers down first on the canvas. Basically my great uncle Fred's photo. So you can see here. So this is a photo of the seaplane landing in 1941 in Rose Bay. Uncle Fred, well, he was still living in Bellevue Hill then. Although, sorry, he was living in London, in between London and Bellevue Hill, because he had to go back to London. So basically, because it was a military base, his camera was confiscated off him until they could confirm who he was and that he was a subject of Your Majesty's, oh God, what's it called? So he was in the UK Navy, so he was allowed to have his camera back and so forth. However, and the National Archives of Australia, they have his work, plus to and from letters with Uncle Fred. Okay, this is already up to about 15 minutes. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to not film a lot of them. I've noticed in the past that when I've actually filmed myself, I mean, I don't have a great setup, so a lot don't upload. I've got videos everywhere. All the fad now of filming myself when you work, I hate it because I like to just work without feeling like I'm being watched or camera on me, but anyway. So basically I am, you know, just doing a layer. I'm going to keep layering over and over painting. As you can see, this is Rose Bay back in the 1940s, and do a paint of this. Because there's so a lot of empty sort of space there, there's really two objects in the foreground, you know, where the horizon is. I looked at this and thought it'd be great to actually put a abstract piece through here. So that's what I'm going to create. It's late. I've often always worked on artwork. I have studied to be an artist. I've also studied to be a designer. I haven't really done anything with it in the last 9 years. Actually, with design, I haven't really done anything with it since 2012, to be honest. Now, actually, I'll explain this. It's going to hit it. I can see it's time there. It's going up to about 20 minutes, so I'm going to stop it very soon so I can upload it. The reason being is because there was, okay, and here's where it's cost me damages. So there was spreading of false information in 2015 about me. Now, the only thing that was wrong was my chronic fatigue and sort of got the better of me. And I ended up getting pneumonia in 2016. In 2014, 2015, I was on prednisone, which contributed to the pneumonia. Prednisone was because I was had problems with my muscles and some, you know, the chronic fatigue and so forth. By the way, you can see here, so I just want to point out because I always see it in photos. You can see my face is droopy here. My face is drooped and I've got damage, a lot of damage here. That's from when I was mugged November 30th, 2007. So I've already gone through enough. So you'll see there is damage. Here's my normal face side. Here's the face, and I look at it every day and we have to notice the difference. So the bone was damaged. I was hit really hard here to the left eye. I point it out because I see it every time I'm looking in the mirror. I'm going to see the disfiguration, scarring. So yeah, it's not pleasant. So there we go. The last thing I didn't need was 2015 to date. And most people and groups and organisations are still in a way that, including actually disability organisations. So I'm not mentally retarded or mentally disabled, but there's been groups, organisations, even people, even family members that have jumped on to this crap. Okay, yes, I had an injury from being mugged after work November 30th, 2007. You can see everything on my what I've done in the past. You can just ask me and I'll tell you. You can ask me what was I doing when I had to recover from being mugged, and I will tell you, well, I went back to TAFE College Studies and I studied design events illustration in 2009, interior decoration design in 2010, and I have those. I did pass and receive a credit from my design wearable object, and I continued doing those fields of work where it was art or design, and I stopped design in 2012, still plotting all my own designs, but I really should have gone back to it. And would have. 2016, I was needed to recover after May 2016 when I had pneumonia. The other thing, if you want to go back previously to 2015 when I was getting lied about, a lot of people, groups and organisations started to involve themselves in my life. There's all sorts of things that were said that wasn't true. I've never been suicidal. This is something that keeps getting brought up and up again, to the point that there was information that was directly related to my mother's second husband's family. So I'm Justin Mark Fleming. My mother's second husband's family is Rackley. And I actually had an organisation harass me with information that they must have searched Rackley and saw photos to do with Daniel Rackley, my stepbrother, or posts to do with Daniel Rackley. because I was actually confronted in 2017 and 2018 with those posts. Damn, it's up to over 20 minutes now. All right. So I then went and screenshot those posts and I actually put them on my social media and said, this is not me. This is my ex-stepbrother, Daniel Rackley. Now, there is family members that have jumped onto this bullshit lies about me and scam me. My mother's one of them. My mother's a horrible creature. If she was ever going to redeem herself from the past, the last 9 years since 2015, it did nothing but concrete exactly what she is. Good example of this is, there's my parents. Carol Purdy, Mark Fleming, okay? We're their first marriage. So my sister and myself are the first marriage. I look the way I do, which people always question why I look, why I do, and I look the way I do because of my dad's father. I'm not as dark as my dad's father. My dad's father is a very dark skin. But I can go dark skin easily because of my dad's father. So my complexion and so forth, but I'm not. I mean, my grandfather, Stanley Fleming, was extremely ethnic looking. I don't look that dark, but I do have the similarities. I mean, my grandfather had black hair. I don't have black hair, but I have black features and dark features. So Stanley did have dark skin, so I'm very different to my other siblings. So we're from the first marriage. My twin, is exactly like my mother's side of the family to look at, where I throw my dad's side very easily when you see my grandfather, my pop, Stanley. So there's that. Then parents separated, divorced, and had children from other relationships and other marriages. Okay, so I've got half siblings, right? But those other partners that they had children with and other marriages, they had marriages before there. So they had children that they came with as well. So this is where the confusion has gone in, because even my dad's partner, who he had a daughter with, she had 3 daughters with her first husband. My mother's ex-second husband, who she had 2 daughters with, one of them passed away, he had 3 daughters and a son with his first marriage. Excuse me. And this is where all this crap's come into my life. Now, all I did was share, I put out some Facebook posts and shared it. This is getting beyond the joke now. In 2 countries, a country like the US, where I've held a green card, DV1 green card since 2014. The way I was treated in America, disgusting. I'm absolutely disgusted. I know exactly, like I look at that and think, wow, well, you know, Australia, this is how you should be treating immigrants this badly. It cost me over 80,000 American plus all my assets and belongings because of that treatment. Again, I'll stress, yeah, I'm not mentally retarded. Sure, I've got health problems and injuries and so forth, but even putting me on almost below minimum wage, I mean, most people are on, say, $15 an hour, which is really bad. I was on like 12, like it was just so bad and treated me so horribly. Because of basically whatever had projected from Australia into America about me. There was all sorts of things that went on and was said about me. Another thing, people made up stories that there's some, sorry again, I'm going to leave this soon because it's almost like 25 minutes. There was people that made up stories saying I was a drug dealer or a drug user. And I don't know who started this, but I do know that it came in my own family where that comment was made by my mother's sister, Mary Mahowski, who should be arrested for her behaviour. Why not? Seriously, why am I wearing the blunt of other people's behaviour? I had a lot of money, I had assets and belongings, but I worked for that. I've never done anything criminal to have these assets and belongings and savings that I had. So that went around, and then a lot of the people that started spreading these rumours, and I stood up, first of all, in 2015 and said, yeah, I'm getting lied about. I ring my mother. Biggest mistake I've ever made was ring my mother, and I'll make sure I never do it again. I want nothing to do with her. It's got nothing to do with the past and everything to do with from 2015 to now. And that's why I want nothing to do with most of my family members. So I had a lot of money. That's what I used to move to America with and buy a condo over there. Except they got the same rumours as well that I'm some drug dealer. Oh, apparently I stole somebody's ice or something as well. That went around. I was like, okay, I have no idea why this is happening and where people got the information from. And I have nothing to do with ice or anything like this, or drugs and so forth, or cannabis. That's my mother's ex-second husband's family. So this did go on, and I had all these rumours come back to me, and then I repeated these rumours and said, well, where's it coming from? And then it was like, oh, you're paranoid. It's like, no, I'm not paranoid. I'm actually just repeating exactly what was just said to me. So why is this being said? And then it was, oh, because you're associated with this person. I'm like, I don't know these people. I had sex with a complete stranger. So if I'm having sex with a complete stranger, I'm having sex with a complete stranger. And that's my prerogative. Since when did this start being an issue? And I'm going to turn it back onto the people who were troublemaking women who were the ones that also did this. My mother's family. You know what? I haven't had sex with the amount of men as my mother and her sister, Robin, has. So that tells you they're just disgusting, narcissistic, control freak, vindictive, horrible women. I mean, this is beyond a joke. So, I kind of have to leave it there because we're well over 26 now, but this just tells you. So why didn't things work in America? Well, of course, I will move back to America because that's why I went through the whole green card process and accepted a green card in 2014, but there's got to be something done legally first. Well, not first, there has to be something done legally anyway. I am a victim of defamation discrimination. Discrimination against, organisations, disability organisations discriminated against me because I didn't fit into their disability. This is where equality doesn't work because everyone's different. Equity works, equity for equality doesn't. So, yeah, because I didn't fit into disability organisations what they wanted, and they wanted to push mentally retarded stuff. So then I started getting discriminated against. I got defamed within my own family, slander from complete strangers who don't know me, who I may have had sexual encounters with, or people that just passed from my life. And then I was denied the truth in statements that I made. For example, I know was very close to my grandparents growing up. They raised me. Very close to my great-grandmother and her brother. So my nan's house, which is what I call my nan's house, and my mother wants to be a smart ass and say it's Uncle Fred's. My nan's house, I always say, is 43 Piper Street, Leichhardt. That's my nan's house. My mum turns around and goes, oh, mum and dad lived in Kerry Road, Blacktown. It's like, yes, they moved to Blacktown, Kerry Road, in 1962. Okay, before that, they were living in Roselle, where they're from and so forth. But Nan, meaning Lola's house, the house that if we go to Nan's house, like when I was with Nan and Pop, and they used to take me to see my great-grandmother, Mary, at 43 Piper Street, Leichhardt, just by myself, it was always, we're going to go to Nan's house. Not we're going to Uncle Fred's. We're going to Nan's house. Because it was the house my Nan Lola was raised in. Okay. It was the house that my Nan's mother, my great-grandmother Mary, Big Nan, rented from her brother, or had to deal with her brother. It was her brother. Yeah, Uncle Fred. Leo Patrick Sayer is his name. Mary Sayer's brother. My great uncle, he owned that house. That's right. But he didn't live in it. He lived in Bellevue Hill. He brought the house that his sister lived in, and his sister obviously rented it from him, okay, because she lived there with her husband. So my great-grandparents lived there with my grandmother and my grandmother's siblings. So Brian and everyone lives in the house. Even my mum's cousin Sharon Newcomb lived there because she was raised by my great-grandmother. So Sharon's my nan Lola, her sister Mari's daughter. Anyway. So I always said Nan's house, not Uncle Fred's. Maybe I should say Nan and Uncle Fred's house then, to keep my mother happy. But no, I'm sorry, I'm sick of this bullshit. It's always to keep fucking Carol happy and keep her away from me. Keep me happy for once, because I'm so sick and tired of my mother and her sisters that you wouldn't believe. And we're not going back recently. I can go back my entire life, even before 2002. I can go back to the 90s, where I've had conversations with my pop, Reginald Purdy, about Robin Childs, and that's back in the 90s, and her children as well. So I am that fed up with them. So I was closest to Little Nan, Big Nan, so Little Nan's Lola, Big Nan's Mary, her mother, Reginald George Purdy, my pop, so his mum's parents, mum's grandmother, and Uncle Fred, which is Leo Patrick Sayer, so we call him Uncle Fred. I'm going to put all this when I do the exhibition, why he was called Uncle Fred as well. So he's from Bellevue Hill. His mother's sister, so he's, okay, my mum's going to keep going. He was adopted Yes, he was. That's right. So Julia Sayer adopted Uncle Fred of her sister May. So he was May's first. So May, wherever May got him from. So I think May's last name might have been Goff, but her maiden name's Ryan. So if I want to get technical with people, I'm going to leave it here. It's after 30 minutes. Okay. Bridget Dufresne, my nan's great-grandmother, and my nan's great-grandfather, Matthew Joseph Ryan, had 3 daughters. Okay, it was Julia, May, and Annie. Okay, they're from Bellevue Hill. Okay, this is where the family line. Oh, that's where the French comes from too, which is Bridget Dufresne. I don't give a shit what my mother's going to make up with this crap. Bridget Dufresne, her husband, Matthew, 3 daughters. All right. So you've got, for Julia Ryan, May Ryan, and Annie Ryan. Julia married a Sayer, so she became Julia Sayer. May, I think it was Goff, so she became a Goff, or she had so many husbands, May, anyway. About 5 husbands, so who knows? Pick one of her married names. And Annie was Annie Williams, or the nan said it was Annie Williams Shawkner. I've got to find those documents. So my nana Lola said her great auntie, it's Annie Williams Shawkner. Williams was Tommy's father, so my nan's uncle. They're from Bellevue Hill as well. But there was William Shawkner. So I don't know if she had another husband or whatever. Nan said no, Shawkner. Nan wrote it down for me. I've got it. So I used to sit with Nan Lola all the time. She goes, no, it's Annie Williams Shawkner. And I've got the details of that. So anyway, Annie Williams, the last time I saw her grandson, which is my nan's cousin, was in 2003. And I talked about the same as what I'm talking about now. So we can go back to 2003 to Margaret Keegan's funeral, which is my nan's sister-in-law, and around October 2003, and I spoke to Gary Williams, which is Tommy Williams' son. So not the Williams on my dad's side. I have to keep going to my fucking dad's side. And they go, oh, we're not from there. It's like, yeah, no, you're not. My God, you're not. Like the Williams on my dad's sister's children, which are also Williams. Like, oh, we're not from Bellevue Hill. I was like, yeah, I know you're not from Bellevue Hill. My nan's mother's family are from Bellevue Hill. I'm looking at them going, I wasn't even talking about you. Like, seriously, just because it's the same name? Fucking hell, you morons. Anyway, I mean that nicely when I say morons. But it's morons because people don't listen. They just jump without listening. They jump and don't listen. So anyway. So, yeah. So actually, like, last time I saw Gary Williams was, and that's Nan's cousin. So that's Lola's cousin. That was in 2003. He said he was still living in Bondi back then. He sold his grandmother's house in Bellevue Hill, but all the artwork that I've been getting together since a teenager revolves around Bellevue Hill, revolves around Uncle Fred, when Uncle Fred lived there, photography from around there, to do with what I've said here with Rose Bay, and so forth. So it all relates to do with the area of Bellevue Hill and the eastern suburbs of Sydney. Other artwork I've done relates to Leichhardt, me going to my nan's house in 43 Popper Street, Leichhardt, and because remember that was still in my family right up until 1999. I used to go there the most out of anybody, and I used to sit in the park across the road and draw the viaducts. I've got artwork on the viaducts that I've done, which is across the road from Nan's house. So what happened was, I'm trying to put on these exhibitions and trying to get my artwork together, and then suddenly in the last 9 years I get denied the truth or slandered and all this crap. I'm like, can you not? Because this is stuff surrounding my family heritage and history for the areas of, Rose Bay, Bellevue Hill, Leichhardt, and, this is to do with, me, my culture, my family heritage and history, my family's indigenous to these areas. And suddenly I found I was getting extremely lied about and slandered, denied the truth, and to find out it was coming from even my own mother. But then, look, people might look at that and go, oh, it's your mother, and I look at that and go, really, you have no idea what she's not. Why do you think we're not close? And my dad, what was my dad? When last year when I was having dinner with Dad, he goes, oh, your Uncle Fred was a snob. I'm like, yes, he was a snob. His whole siblings are snobs. My great-grandmother was a snob. Where do you think I get it from? Like, my dad, Mark Fleming, was like, God, I remember your Uncle Fred, he was a snob. I'm like, yeah, and so was Big Nan. They're snobs. Yeah, they were from Bellevue Hill. That's where they're from. One of them moved to Wellington with the racing industry, because Wellington, New South Wales was big in the racing industry. There's relatives there, and so forth. There's mixes everywhere. It's like, I'm sure you wouldn't find, but parts of Australia where they haven't gone to, but where they're actually from and where the heritage comes from, where my great uncle Fred lived, and where I drove my nan Lola around when I got my license, and when my nan Lola was telling me she used to catch the tram from Leichhardt and all the way up to Bellevue Hill, because the tram used to run from Leichhardt to Bellevue Hill in those days. God, it'd be great if we still had that tram. And she did. She used to catch the tram from Leichhardt to Bellevue Hill and get off there and go and see her grandmother, and then go to Bondi Beach. So the tram used to go all the way down to Bondi Beach. So I did. So I've got a very rich family heritage and history in the area of Bellevue Hill, Bondi, Rose Bay, all around the inner city suburbs of Sydney. And where people think that I was actually raised or spent most of my life, I spent the most littlest time outside of the city. I'm born and raised in the suburbs originally, but I spent most of my life in the city. My mum worked in the city as well, but that's not why. I was just closer to my grandparents, and they're all from the city, and their families still lived in the city. My mum's cousin still lives in the inner city. So what's it like? Anyway, I'm going to leave there because now we're on about 40 minutes. And I've talked about 20. So I'm going to keep working here with the layering. I haven't got much yet, but I'm going to keep, and basically it's going to be a layer upon layer of, so I'm actually doing very diluted paint. First, it's not going to be that diluted. This is something I've done even over here. Where I started out is over here. Oh God, my back is killing me. So basically, with the ones I've done over here, these were all started out very thin layers and built up. And then built up layer upon layer. So it started very, very thin. Even this one did. Just water down and let it dry. Let it dry, then another layer of sugar, and then so forth. So that's what I was doing. So it won't end up being so transparent with this, because that's not how I want it to be. But it will be several layers of paint, thin paint, over and over and over, and build it up. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. So